This is all over. We're gonna, it's on now?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Rabbil Alamin. Well, we have been discussing the current situation, and where we've gotten so far is that we should have some flyer, some information, a statement to affect the people in our neighborhood. Because as far as we are now with this coronavirus or what have you, is our people are not heeding the general warnings and what have you. Not only here, but they had to close the beaches in Australia, the white folks and all of them. They just said, no, we ain't going. They showed the beaches, they were just full of people. And so, in different places, since we're dealing with what part we should play in this matter, we're talking about what part we should play right now and what we should be doing in the future. Like there's some things that we're going to do right now, but we just want to discuss the issues and the vision, how we see our environment right now. Did you finish your discussion on how you see things right now?
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So your basic thing was about putting out a flyer to help educate the people, because there had been information, according to what I was seeing and hearing, that black people couldn't get this. But when you look at the news, it makes you think. When I was watching the news the other night, and I think I saw another program, kind of like the one I was just talking about, and it was targeting all of them. It just so happens that everything was targeting, certain people. That's why I remember when we did the program on China, this was about 2 or 3 months ago, I said, I hope China will make a vaccine or something, right, for the Negro. Because one of the things I want to say is, this program is how to prevent a global lockdown. I'm not talking about this lockdown. But the human being has progressed so far as scientific advancement and what have you, psychological advancement, in order to prevent living on an animal farm or super management and absolute loss of all freedoms, we would have to have a good world where a lot of the things are taken care of. We can't have a world, we can't have two things. One is limited freedom, you know what a human being, limited freedom, limited progress, limited accommodations, all of those things within reason. And at the same time, we have a society that's controlled by riba and all of that. Why? Because the society is controlled by riba, that means it'll continue to perpetuate the same thing we got. The rich get rich and the poor get poorer. Okay? Right now, if this thing, we can really do good planning when we see how this thing ends or what it looks like at the end. Because some of the things that you see, you have to wait. That's what delay is about. You see something first, I'm going to skip a minute, but I'll try to get back to this. when you see something at first like 9/11, okay, 9/11, if they did it, which they did, then they're going to present certain scenarios, a multiple of scenarios. This is what happened, that's what happened. When it first came out, they was talking, the people were saying, well, the Zionists did it, or this and that. And they had the stuff with the Zionists up on the roof, laughing and all. Okay, have a good time. Then they put some other stuff out that sounds good, fits into all the general conspiracy, but they have somebody already waiting. If they put out this stuff, they already have somebody waiting that can debunk all of that. It sounds good, right? But you can debunk it, all of that stuff. Then they put out other things that may have really happened. See, of course we don't mess with them, but if you read the Protocols of Zion, they have said, put out so much stuff that it'll confuse, the common man will be confused. He's not a deep thinker. They know that. See, so anyway, then they'll put out some other things that make sense. And they'll put out some mixtures of truth mixed in with that. And it accommodates all the stuff and all the videos and all that stuff that comes out anyway. You know, because people going to bring their stuff out. If you remember 911, man, they had Riders of the Pale Horse. They had all of them videos on what happened. WhatReallyHappened.com. Remember that? They had a whole website about WhatReallyHappened.com. A lot of it was good. But a lot of it, if you tried to follow it down and try to prove it in court, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? It sounded good, but it would backfire. And I remember Abdul Malik, when I was in LA when this happened, we was talking, he said, yeah, man. Or when I got to Oakland, I had to ride the bus to Oakland, he said, yeah, man, the Zionists did this. I said, no, just wait a little while. Just wait a little while, we'll see what happened. What did happen? Clearly, if anything that they said was true, then that means, 13 or 15 of the people was from Saudi Arabia. They were out nightclubbing and getting lap dancing that night of the thing. That's something. A person is going to achieve martyrdom is praying and all of that type of stuff the night before a mission. The last thing they would be doing is lap dancing. Anybody who was going to do something like that would be people, right, that are physically, you know what I mean, tied to the physical world. Maybe they got some of their parents back home and scared them, or whatever it is, it was Saudi Arabia. Who could leave America? Nobody, except Saudi Arabia, that's all. So that's why we said, wait. Same thing on this. We just wait, we got ideas. But if we wait on this, everything is going to come out in its own time. Even America will begin to hint. I read an article in Newsweek 1979. And the article was about America always talk about their past sins, like Vietnam was a mistake, but they don't be right up on today. That's if we admit our past sins, we was wrong, then we're doing the same now. No, they don't do that. They only talk about their past sins. day after they didn't have it. Okay, they even bring people out, so-called FBI, Philip Agee, and all these people that come on, they used to come on WPF. They'd be ex-CIA agents talking about what they did in Angola and all of that, right? But they was never talking about what the American and the Zionists are doing right today. The point is this, is a delay gives you a chance to see who did what, and even sometimes why. By what happens after. You have to let them live out their little fantasy, whatever it is. So we'll be able to tell exactly who did this, right? By how it comes out at the end. An example, we know somebody hired Donald Trump to do this. Why did he hire him? Because Donald Trump is if he's broke, which we all believe he is, but he's arrogant also, very arrogant. He's also self-centered and generally mean and paranoid also, and got strands of Nazism. He got, not strands, you would say look, y'all know I watched them World War II programs, Hitler and all of that. I listened to Donald Trump's inaugural address, carbon copy of Adolf Hitler at the Reichstag, 1933, word for word. Adolf Hitler, I'm here, I'm going to use my office as Chancellor, 1933, to defend the fatherland, Deutschland, right? And therefore, I'm enacting certain things. Donald Trump was the same thing, to defend America, to make America great again, right? To suppress the unruly elements, un-American elements, which is basically everybody that's not white. Okay, now, they did their math. They don't need everybody. All they need is a certain amount. See, the smart Germans is the ones that put Hitler in. They thought, we'll put this guy in. He's a clown, he's a buffoon, right? I mean, you can look at the little mustache and all that stuff. And his friends was all that, they used to call them the beer hall puts. The beer hall, they hung out in the beer hall, the pool hall. That's what they did. That's where they hung out and got organized. Yeah. So they said, we'll put this guy in and we'll manipulate him to do what we want. It didn't happen like that. He got power and then they disappeared all of them. They all disappeared and run off because he already had a plan. But now Donald Trump is not that smart. He's not that smart. And he's really arrogant. And he's stupid. Therefore, he's amenable to manipulation. They could put an idiot like that in power and he could be instructed to do this, that, and other, and you hurt everybody. So the hell with them. I don't care nothing about all them people, Americans and white folks and all that. All I care about is money and power and appeasement. You have to, all the governors have to stroke his back. Oh, he was a good old president. All right, they can't say nothing to him now. You wait a few minutes. When this thing passes, you wait. You hear from all them. This guy's a clown. We can't go through this one more. Forget it. He's, that's it. But the people that run the world have long-range plans. They think way, way ahead. They have trial runs on everything. They have trial runs. You don't know whether this is the thing. This looks like a trial run for the global lockdown. The reason I say global lockdown is because with engineering and technology, you got to see that somebody is crazy or they're not crazy. Why is that? They inventing and improving all these robotics. Robots. And robots in Korea, and some here, Japan, and even in China now. Those robots do everything, and a human being can't do that stuff. You know those ways they got, what's this company, Amazon or something, that have all the people just working and they got a camera on everything. They got to do so many things. The human being can't do that without blowing it, right? But they won't need the human being anymore because they got a thing, they go and it'll go and pick up the stock thing and set it on the thing, and then that thing can just run, you just program it, it'll run and get all, and all the stuff will come right to its brain it's got, and it'll go rolling right around and pick up everything. Everything is by the numbers, right? Long story short is this. Can those machines buy anything? Can they buy a house? Can they buy? They can't. So they're creating all of these machines. Why? To get more efficient and more effective. But anybody that had any sense would manage their society where the human being feels good if they can work and they can, you have 2 or 3 lazy people, but most people, if they can build something or make something, they feel like they've done something. Most people are like that. And most people have it in their character and their nature. They don't want to sit around and not do nothing. There's a few Negroes but I ain't against the Negro. But I want to skip again. If you worked all your life and you didn't get nothing for it, you would always be trying to hide and not do no work. Right? Because you wouldn't get nothing for it. And then you down in Dixie, and they tell you go out to California and up to New York and up to Michigan, you can get on welfare, lady, and you got 10 children. Ain't no person gonna marry you or nothing. And you can get $400 back in the 50s. You can get $400. And down here in Dixie, you're gonna live in a shack with an old pump out there where you pump your water, and you're gonna starve to death. And all your kids are gonna wind up in a chain gang or somewhere like that, right? So you go out there, why? Because they got welfare, and they're gonna look out for you. You would be stupid to stay in the South making $1 a day or $2. In 1965 in Mississippi, people working made $2 a day. A day, not an hour, $2 a day. In California, we made $3 an hour. So what would it only makes sense. The point I'm making is that in those days they talked about automation. When I was going to work, I worked for a whole year. So they talked about automation. But now automation is really sophisticated and it's getting better. But the machines can't buy anything. So who would make a machine to make something? But the machines can't buy anything. So they're going to put the people out of the work, right? America is a spending economy. It's because people spend. Suppose you take, to make more money, you put the people out of work, right, that's buying everything, to make more money. Somebody's cutting their own throat. They'll make more money for a day or two, but in the long run, who's going to buy anything? They don't have no money. You have to take care of them, or get rid of them, or you have to have some plan. If the people don't realize how mean the system is. I think I saw something about the assassination of Kennedy. Executive action. I don't know if anybody ever saw this movie. But Robert Ryan and somebody was in there, and they had a guy who looked like Colonel Sanders. So, this is decades ago. So they was having a conversation. They said, yes, if we don't take certain actions, we're going to be run over by blacks and Mexicans and all these people of color. That was back then. So for them to write that, that means somebody is thinking like that all together. And just so happens the writer might have a friend that's a part of a club, and that club is but he picks up a few little bits here and there, and his friend maybe super eugenics and get rid of all the people, right? Some of the fiction technically is not all fiction. And some of the fiction incites people. Like, so there's a good old congressman, a good old group of white folks, and they read a little fiction, and the fiction starts to make sense. And they say, can you imagine, it don't take no whole lot of money to organize heavy, devilish fitna like that. That's why we have to live in a good world, or we have to live in a prison. Why? We have to have a world where, you know, in the old days, everybody had guns in their house. Everybody had guns. All the people I knew carried guns. The old people in the South,